Sorry, do you need me to move anything?
Oh no, that's okay. I'm just trying to get this higher. So.
It's a nice one. It's a quite a relaxing like everyone is ever
It's so funny that we get along so well, but
That's right. I just saw a picture. I'll definitely.
you're born in 1996 years.
Yeah, I wouldn't have smaller like any
So it's 6 years difference.
everyone always looks up at it's like maintenance, long-term appreciation. The biggest thing between 2 to 10. You take the 5 to 6 seats, 20 to 60.
Celiac, vegan.
Every 100 hours, 2,000 hours.
It's a lot of easier to sell something you care about. Everyone knows what to sell.
Not to mention 10% of the revenue is every year. It's cheaper than
So it
depends. It takes 100 off the
Rightio guys, children, little Rightio guys, enough. Thanks for coming down to Ecom Jungle, hosted by John Gorman. If anyone doesn't know him, he's a SEO, Google, everything ads extraordinaire, so definitely good to work and talk to. This is a talk about scaling a business, which everyone knows because they've signed up and come down. I want it to be like very much conversational, like just casual. If you've got a question, hand up, I'll answer it. If it's going to come up later on in the talk, I'll treat you kind of.
Sorry, Tom, can I just interrupt you one sec? I just wanted to say, guys, thanks so much, everyone, for coming to Ecom Jungle. Really appreciate it. We're trying to grow like a bit of a proper, legitimate e-commerce community that's not about, just trying to sell you stuff. Or I mean, I have an agency. Tom, he's got a specialist consulting business now after Archies, which I'm sure he'll mention, which is all about how to grow your business and things that you might not hear about, like online or watching YouTube videos and things like that. So the idea with this is like, and also there's other e-commerce business owners here. Like a lot of you have e-commerce stores or you're just getting started. It's good to talk to people. Who are you guys using for Facebook ads? Have you, what are some things, who are some agencies to avoid? So that's the idea of this community. Like we try to build it. This is only the second one we've done so far this year, and we're going to try to do it every month. So I really appreciate, I don't expect you guys to come all the time, but I really appreciate that you guys have come out tonight and made that effort. And even Jesse, Jesse's got a 3PL, so he's a great person to talk to about like 3PL. I was like,
I'm not here to sell you guys. I got enough, but I'm here to help. Like
Yeah.
you said.
yeah. So Jesse's, so there's people in the room to get to know everyone. I mean, I made it ticketed so everyone here is serious about e-commerce. So trying to create a really good group. And Tom will probably undernote himself, but he went from, zero to, selling thongs at what was it? Saturday markets, isn't it?
Local market.
Yeah, local markets. I mean, some of you have probably heard about Archies Footwear. You've seen the thongs. So he's grown it to a multi-million-dollar business, which he's now stepping away from and doing this new consulting to help other businesses. So, yeah, I just wanted a little intro there, and I'll let Tom take over. So, but he's someone who's who's done it, walked the walk, and you can get that advice from.
Cool. Plenty of talk to come, guys. I'll wait for this guy to jump in. So I've got a little bit of a cold as well. It's going to excuse some. So yeah, like I said, super casual. Got a question asked. It's small enough room. I think everyone chats beforehand, and you get to know each other and feel it out. Get to know it out, so it's fine. I'm going to go through a bit of an agenda, just so you know what's coming. So my time at Archies, as John said, so it was a footwear business for anyone who doesn't know, specialising in arch sport thongs. And I was the GM and CFO and I don't know, every other hat that I wore there over the time. So there for 10 years, and now I'll use that more or less as, that's my experience and that's what everyone's here to see. So I'll talk about that, here and here. So, that's my experience. That's what I'll relate it to, and we'll go from there. I'm going to go through what scaling is, or what my thoughts are around it, and then hopefully give some value. I've come up with the concept for this sort of thing, that the 5 ends. There will be a bit more on that, and then Q&A at the end. But like I said, questions welcome throughout. Any questions? So first up, I'm Tom, from Echuca originally. That's the paddle steamer up there to prove it. Most people from Melbourne have some sort of relationship with Echuca. Went to Melbourne when I was 18 to study property valuations, worked at a company called Savills. There was a commercial, massive corporate. So I know a lot of people here are working at a job and trying to get something going at the same time. So trust me, I know what that's like. Obviously, Archies was the bulk of my last 10 years. I mean, certainly a lot of crossover, but yeah, that was that we built a pretty good business, and I've now started Outlaw Consulting. Talk about that a bit later. But that's it. So I think definitely a trip down memory lane, going through the photos to get all this sort of stuff. So this is, I guess, a pretty standard board meeting for us. There was me, I guess, property valuer, my brother Dan, who was a physiotherapist who came up with the idea, and my best mate Tom. So it's at my uncle's cafe in Echuca down in the port area. So timeline is 2011. Dan came up with the idea. He was like I said, physiotherapist. Tired of people coming in and saying, I've got sore feet. And he sort of had the light bulb moment of, shit, we can, put an arch in there and, fix a lot of problems, sort of thing. We always laugh at it. We'd look back and say, the first model that we had, the first prototype, was made out of clay instead of CAD. And, knowing what I know now, it's like, oh, well, what he was doing, sort of thing. Pretty tough time to get the product to market. You wouldn't believe how many issues can come up with a pair of thongs, but we did. 2014, that's our first day at the markets. So this is under the bridge at Echuca. And Dan and I were there setting up at about 8 o'clock going, oh, shit, we made a big mistake here. What are we doing? What's happened here? Because there's no one there. And by the end, we'd sold 83 pairs, and we're the hero of the markets. all the stall holders around us were going, "Oh, you've taken everyone's money! You've taken everyone's money!" It was crazy. And afterwards, all high fives and that sort of thing. That summer was spent up and down the main street of Echuca, selling thongs just outside of wherever we could, sort of thing. Transport pretty complex at that stage. Dan moved, so he quit his job as a physio, and he filled the car up, drove up to Noosa, and sold up there, and more or less followed the sun all the way up, just doing what we needed to do to get money in the door, because money matters. I stayed in Melbourne, set up the warehouse in Echuca, and operated it more or less from there. We got things going, got the website going, obviously, and that was, I can remember the days of one sale a day, none the next, and then, oh shit, like 2 sales boards, oh shit, we do 3, and that sort of step. So yeah, obviously looking back at that, it's pretty cool to see how far it's come. A lot of issues in the early days, a lot of people taking advantage of you, of us, I should say. Mainly manufacturing, that was a big issue for a very long time. But we progressed. So things got going. So me, Dan, Tom Sheldon, and his brother Jack joined, and his sister Chloe, her best mate Beck. So that was the team. I mean, it was a lot smaller for a lot longer than that. Warehouse, as you can see, expanded. So we had, actually, I'll just go back to this one. So first employee here was my cousin, and then the next employee in this one was my auntie. So it just grew and grew like that. The Moama market was still an absolute, evergreen source for us, but the marquee got upgraded. We got on the grass instead of on the dirt down the back. A little bit of marketing, but not very complicated. Team slowly grew over the years. I think of this bunch here, I played footy with 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. Sister, her mate, he was the only outside hire, and he was a CAD designer. If there was a CAD designer from Echuca, we would have hired him. So that's sort of how that went. So selling, taking on wholesale clients throughout that time, and just doing what needed to be done. Like we used to say, we run it on the smell of an oily rag. No one taking any money, just any money we made straight back in business. I think the big sort of hit for us was, when things started to, when we had to move out of here, I should probably say, is 2018, sort of the ads kind of clicked for us, and there's some other stuff that clicked as well, but I'll get into that later. So pay attention to that. And then 2018, we went bang. 2019, we went bang. Really good summer, going into 2020. And then every other business in the entire world, COVID, big punch to the guts. And it was crazy. I can remember it like it was yesterday. So me, Dan and Tom on a Facebook Messenger group call, which that's how we did a lot of our stuff. And it was, geez, have you seen this stuff in Italy? It's, people are falling dead, the hospitals, the infrastructure's failing. Like, what's going to happen to us if that happens here? And we sort of made the decision to go, that's not going to, ruin us. We're going to go, I guess, counterintuitively, we're going to ramp up. So we opened UK, Canada, EU. We were already selling into the US, but we changed the warehouse that we're at. And so, put a heap of money into stock. And it was a pretty good bet, because a lot of people, were being so conservative, saying, oh, we don't know what's happening. And we were like, let's have a crack. So we did that, came out of it pretty well. Obviously, the warehouse, had to get bigger again. Team obviously expanding out. Dusty Martin, AFL legend, if anyone follows the footy, I'm sure everyone does in Melbourne, on as an ambassador. Bit more complex marketing and that sort of thing. New product releases, release of slides. I'm not sure. I mean, a lot of people probably been hit up with the ads 100 times. But yeah, more wholesale accounts. So, Athlete's Foot, Maya, some pretty big players. And then sort of, just step all the way through. We sold over well over 3 million pairs, over 4,000 stockists, 100,000 reviews online. It's really, really good business.
Excuse me, Tom.
Yeah.
Sorry to break you straight. Did you raise before you went international, or was this all bootstrap?
Raise money.
Yeah.
Bootstrap.
Yeah.
So, it's a bit of an underdog story. Again, like I said in this one, we had to hire a few more people outside of town, but like to keep it local as much as we can. So that's that big question, and I guess why everyone's here, apart from hearing a fascinating backstory. How do you scale? And it's probably one that a lot of people think about it and talk about it like, oh, I want to 10x this, I want to 20x, and they just focus, oh, I just want to scale, and they talk about it like it's something that you plug into your business and you jiggle it right, and oh, look at us, we're going well now. But it's very much, and this is just conceptual, of course, but it's the result of a process. You know what I mean? Like, and so how I look at it is, that like everyone talks about it, but everyone's always after that secret, and the secret is there's no magic bullet. There is no secret to turning the knob and doing it. I'm sure if you listen to that story that I was just told over a very long time, step, all the way through. So something I want to do is reframe what scale is. Park the word scale, just put it out of your head. I will say it more in this chat, but we'll get there. And replace it with building a good business. Because if you build a good business, scale happens naturally. And what I mean by that is like, there's so many limitations in a business, so many ceilings that people always say, if I said scale, everyone's mind go, oh, how do I scale ads? Or how do I just get that up? But ads can go up, but if your warehouse can't fulfill, there's a bit of something holding this back, isn't there? Or if your customer service can't get to all the tickets and your ads are getting smashed because everyone's saying, oh, I didn't get my order and this sort of thing. It just goes nowhere really, really fast. So what you've got to do is get in your head, don't worry about scale, build a good business. And that's what you want to do. And that's what we did at Archies. So we want to, with that in mind, there are a lot of things that you can do to build a good business, and so I will, give my thoughts on it. It's very much, again, coming back to that no magic bullet. There's nothing you can do. Oh, what if I just have my ads with this audience? What will happen? It's just an absolute myth, and anyone who's saying that is just a liar. And it's so cliche, but so much stuff is cliche that you just got to do the little boring things really well. And you're like, yeah, great. That's, I read that on LinkedIn anywhere I go. I think something we did at Archies and that, was a really good thing. We were talking about this earlier, about how so many people say, oh, it's my side hustle. So we didn't view this as a side hustle. We were like, this is $1 billion business and this is what we're doing. And so every day we went to work, we just went at it about saying, are we a step closer? We're a step closer to being that $1 billion business. And that was the plan that we needed. And so then looking back, it wasn't, and this is, I guess, life advice as well, as the business coach coming out of me. It's, you don't want to compare yourself to someone else, to another business. You don't know where they started. You don't know how much money they had or anything like that. You want to compare yourself to what you were yesterday in comparison to your goal. And that's just look here. Don't be looking at everyone else. Other part of it that I think that we did really well was you can't have a perfectionist mindset, because you will be that limit on your business, because you'll be going, oh, I've got to get this absolutely perfect. You just get it going. Don't focus. And again, that's obviously really, just too broad to actually, mean anything to anyone. But like, I'm sure you can apply that to yourself and say, I probably have focused on that one thing, or maybe I just want the product to be perfect. Product's never going to be perfect, and that's just something that I've seen time and time again. So moving to the next section, we will talk about, actual things that you can do. pretty big builder. I'm aware. I hope it comes through. But what I focus on a lot is not that magic bullet, but just building really good foundations. And if you've got good foundations and there's demand for your product, like I said, it just happens naturally. And you're not going to go like I said, we didn't go from 2014 to $20 million. We went from 2014, we doubled what we were doing in 2014 to 2015, and that was fantastic. And 2015, 2016, and it's just step like that. So I think the big thing here is, and there's probably another one where you would go, Jesus, this guy. What you've got to do is you've got to plan. You've got to spend time doing it. The amount of people that I deal with from a consulting basis who don't plan, and then they're like, oh, I didn't know this was ever going to happen. How could I not see this happening? And obviously, you can't plan for everything in your business, everything that's ever going to happen, but there are some things that you can foresee happening. You can see that if orders increase and you're picking and packing them, the 3PL could be a really good option. Absolutely. Or you could foresee that, shit, if I'm doing this all by myself, eventually I'm going to need someone to help. And then you've got to work out at what point do I need that. And sitting down, you've got to, I'm a big fan of like sitting down, planning it all out, writing it, because you write it down and, I bet everyone here said, yeah, I'm going to go to this. And maybe someone said, no, I can't be bothered. So, no, I'm going to go. If you're the sort of person who does that, then you write it down, you make it real for yourself. So you want to write things down, you want to put goals, you want to put targets, and things like, oh, I want to grow this much. But you don't want to grow this much, because if you buy stock for that and your sales only go here, you're in a world of pain. And that happened to us. We learned that the hard way, absolutely. I'm not saying that we were born with all the answers. No one has all the answers, especially not at the start. So the other thing, you've got to plan, and it's sort of focusing on that, is allocating your resources and allocating them effectively. You want to have a look at something. Like I said, don't be a perfectionist and say, oh, but I want to get this right. That's not a good allocation of your time. So you want to focus on things that move the needle, and you want to say, well, how easy is this to implement? And it might be, well, I can't not have PayPal. I don't want to have to sign up to PayPal. Well, you're going to lose sales by not having it. So sign up to that. It's easy to implement. You just got to spend a little bit of time to do it. And so we do that, and you can master the 5 M's. So a big part of this is that, and again, I put this in to give it a structure, because me just saying plan, it's too overwhelming and ambiguous. So I plan what? Where do I start? This is going to give, hopefully, some foundations and things that, in my experience, that you should focus on. And again, like plan, what are you planning for? You're planning for building a good business. That's the goal. The plan isn't to plan, so I can scale. Because again, throw that out, it means nothing. What you want to do is build a good business, and the rest happens naturally. And of course, a lot of caveats, qualifications about each business being different and different, models and all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to put that out there, blanket caveats. I don't have to say it again. But as a rule, I think this should be pretty applicable. So if you plan properly, you can master the 5 M's. Everyone will hate me here. Audience participation. What are the 5 M's of a good business?
1 would be marketing.
Bang. Good.
Measurable. Measurable.
That is good.
Money.
Management is a good one, but I sort of think that as the boss, you need to have good management. So no. Mathematics is good. No, that's good.
Money.
That's good. Money. Yes, 100%.
Metrics.
Need money. Metrics is also good. Combine those two.
Monetization.
Or close again. I'll have margin.
Oh my.
And I obviously fit this into M's. So. Was that a hand up?
No.
Hand scratch.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Manufacturing.
Yeah, good.
Study the marketing.
Marketing, yes, good. Yeah. What about? Actually, I'll just tell you, it's manpower. So you need money, you need manpower, you need margin, you need manufacturing, you need marketing. So to me, if you can get these things right, and of course, there's a bunch of other stuff that you can do to get this right. Well, other things that aren't included in here, but if you can sort these out, it will just put you so far ahead of so many people. So money. Oh,
No.
no. I can go back. Grab a photo if you want. It's a quality slide. And I give full props to my wife. You got him?
Yeah.
So from a money perspective, when I say that, I'm talking about cash flow. And you hear people say, oh, it's the lifeblood of a business and that sort of thing. And they could not be more right. It absolutely is. And probably the biggest thing is managing it. Like, so you can have money, but if you don't allocate it correctly, it goes back to that planning, that overarching thing. If you don't plan how to spend it, you're gone. And so you need to make sure that you're putting it in the right spots. And so, like, it's funny, over the years, like, so many friends of mine would sort of come out and say, oh, mate, yeah, killed it with Archies. Yeah, I've got this idea to do this. I'm like, all right, let's break this down. All right, cool. And they're like, oh, yeah, it's, you're talking some dollars there. I don't like that much. And I know, like, I spoke to Beck the other week about it. It's like maybe a month ago, Beck was here with the last Google Meet. I said, well, how are you going for money? And she said, oh, what? And I said, well, you've got to have it. And I said, you've got to find it. You've got to do something about that. So then you've got to be smart about how you allocate it. So you've got to really put it around. And a big part of it is having someone, if it's you, if you hate numbers, so many people hate numbers, you've got to love your numbers, and you've got to have someone in control of it and understand cash flow and understand how to allocate it and say, no, don't spend money there. That's ridiculous. So then so many people have got to market. So a client of mine at the moment, she had about 400 grand. Guess how much money she spent getting her product to market? About 400 grand. And it was one of those ones. And I sort of said it, she came to me obviously late, and I said, well, with that much money, you could have done way less, because she was that perfectionist, and she said, no, I've got to get it right. And she spent all of her money. And then she's like, and like I said before, yeah, I'm sure I say that, and everyone's like, duh. And so much of this stuff is just common sense, where if you sit there, most people will be able to logic their way through to the right answer. But she was like, well, yeah, now I'm going to start marketing. And I'm like, with what? And so it's a really tough thing. I was like, well, we're going to have to get really creative to stretch the money out. So I say you've got to be conservative if you want to stay around. You can't just put all of your money into anything. And again, you've got to have a plan, because, obviously, if you go back in time for that girl, you'd say, hey, here's the timeline. And she's like, well, I'm spending it all here. Everyone would say, yeah, it's not a good idea. You know what I mean? So if you don't have money, Beck, if you don't have money, what are you going to do? You have to get money. Where are you going to get money? In my experience, this is what you're looking at. So how much money do you have? Do you want to buy a house? Maybe do you want to buy 5 houses? If you get your business right, maybe you can buy 5 houses. Maybe you just want that safety of doing one. But that you need to work out how much money you're happy to just set on fire, because there's no guarantee, because it's the old story. If it was easy, everyone's doing it.
So how did you find this?
Good question. So we got bank loans.
So you took the loan.
We got bank loans because
how long into the journey, Tom, did you, before you had the confidence to do that?
No, it was early because we didn't have the funding. We were going to markets to get money.
Can you say how much roughly?
Pardon?
Can you say roughly how much? Like
Under 100K. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so like, because look like your product, you have IP, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so
Helpful.
you need to go through the prototype stack.
Yeah.
So did you use your own savings or you get the?
Lot of own savings to get to the level of being able to. So Archies has a lot of IP protecting it. So savings gone. Where are you going to get the money from? Or get out there, get to the markets, get some cash, bank loans.
What happened to crowdfunding? Is there any crowdfunding back then?
Yeah, it was a thing back then, but we just weren't complex enough to do it. Not nearly.
Why isn't sales up there?
Doesn't start with them.
Because I'm not a gym.
I'm sorry. That's a funny note.
Let me just
Yes.
add that in. Absolutely. I mean, if you've got sales, but that means you've got product. You know what I mean? If you've got product, you can actually get the ball rolling. So personal savings, how much you're going to burn, bank loan, how much risk do you want to take? If you've got kids and a mortgage, you're probably not saying let's go into that. So that's something you need to think about. And then people say, and I talk to people and say, well, how are you going to fund it? They say, I don't want the risk of that. And what about this? So, oh yeah, but I'm the one that's risked everything to date, and I'm the one that's sacrificed my Saturdays and that sort of thing. I don't want to cut someone in. Well, if you don't want to cut someone in, I'd probably say you don't have what it takes, like to do it. And I reference what's his name? Amazon. What's it? Bezos. He's got 14% of Amazon. He's a multi-billionaire. Would anyone say, "Oh, dude, don't give any equity away. You should keep it all for yourself"? He did that obviously strategically, gave it away at different stages, and now paid off. Sweat equity is another one. I'm going to put sales number 6. So sweat equity, it's not obviously money in, but if what you need is manpower, you give away some equity and get some more people in, because you need warm bodies. You need people around to get things done. Rich auntie and uncle, that helps a lot too. They don't grow on trees though. Any questions? Good questions though. Next up.
So what was your bank loan, the percentage when you initially took it?
Bank loan percentage.
Yeah, the interest.
Oh, unsecured, very high.
Mm.
Like make you cry high. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty, you take a lot of risk to do that.
Yeah, personally guaranteeing the loan. Yeah.
I did a trick. I had to take a loan like for business, and I did a trick where I took it as a home loan. You can do it. If you find a good mortgage broker, you can pretend to do it as like part of your home loan. And you pay the home loan rates like 4.5%, 5% instead
But
of
the
10%.
problem is you can't do the tax deduction if it's under the home loan,
Yeah, I know.
so.
That's true.
You don't care about something.
So next up, manpower. I think Archies gives a really, really good example here, and it's pretty obvious. That one at the top left, the boardroom meeting, having the milkshakes. We had 3 of us, and such a massive advantage that we had. If there was one of us, I've actually put the graphic here, so get ready for a highly complex graph here, guys. If you got one person, I'm not saying that you can't do it. You will get things done eventually, but it will fucking take a long time. And if Archies was left to any one of us boys, it would not nearly have been what it was today, like 100%. And so people think, oh, with multiple people, yeah, you get things done. But I challenge that a lot. It's a lot more like this, because what happens is you're working on something, someone else is working on something, and it then unlocks something else, and you can go bang, bang, bang like that. And so you just get so much stuff done, and obviously, reach 100%. So we scrub him out, we go from there. Yeah.
So in hindsight, do you think you're getting funded revenue better than bootstrapping?
Oh, that's a really good question. And it factors into so many other areas along the way, because we had so many issues at the start with the actual product that if we had all the funding in the world, it wouldn't have changed anything, because we needed to, cut our teeth with our manufacturing and then get it to a level where we could actually, push it a bit harder. That's a really good question. So it's sort of funny, like, you can't do it all yourself. I mean, you can do it all yourself, but not in a timely fashion. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't try to do it all yourself, and you should have your hands on everything. But if you want to be a good business, and this is probably, comes back into the, we're trying to build a good business here. Is a good business a business with only one person? So, it sounds like a job, because if they leave, it falls apart, so you can never leave it. So with this, my advice is your time is valuable. You don't want to get caught up doing the minutiae things. So like people often say, I'm still fulfilling it myself. And 100% I get that. 100% I get that. But what if it gets to a stage where you're spending 8 hours a day fulfilling? It's like, get rid of that, get a 3DR. So time's valuable, and then delegate, don't abdicate. So what I mean by that is, a lot of people, as an example, hate doing the books, or hate doing fulfillment, or there's some job that they hate. They just want to get someone in, get rid of that. And oftentimes, it's probably more, you want to do things with purpose. You want to get rid of a job that will service the business, building a good business the most. So you might be like, I just don't know how to do ads. I just want to get rid of that job and get someone in to do it. It's like, well, I'm happy to pick orders. I'm like, mate, you're joking. Get rid of the really repetitive job, learn ads, or find some money, get someone in to learn ads, and you go do something else, manage the whole thing. The other question that comes up a lot is outsource versus internal. I guess, again, caveat on that one, depends on what stage of the business. If you're Archies, like we had an internal marketing team by the end, but all the way through, we outsource. So I'm massive on outsourcing, especially at the start, because you can multiply yourself, but the caveat to that caveat is you've got to know what you're outsourcing. So it comes back into this. So we had a rule that we would only outsource something if we knew how to do it. And you say, but you're the one that knows how to do it. You outsource something, you've got to hold someone to account. You've got to be able to say, all right, I'm going to give, if someone, John, perfect question for you. If someone came along to you and said, oh, mate, can you do my SEO? If you're a unscrupulous character, which you're not, you can say, yeah, mate, yeah, just doing this stuff. It's going to take about 12 months to do that. Just pay the retainer. You know what I mean? But if you know a bit about SEO, you can say, what are you doing?
Yeah, and that's so important, because there's, from the marketing, from the agency world, there are so many agencies or people who just like take your money,
They'll skin you.
and you won't even know what they're doing. And I'll say, yeah, they'll send you a fancy report and it'll look good. You're like, okay, But I would say the best way is learn a little bit of skills, but find out what are the key like measurables that you can hold them accountable against. Is it like organic traffic for certain things, or is it a certain amount of sales or revenue growth, or something that you can measure and be on top of anything you outsource? Don't be afraid to be that person that really don't just forget about it. Like Tom said, really be accountable, see it as like a partnership with them,
That's a really good point, John, because as the boss, and everyone here is obviously early stage of their business and that sort of thing. You want to you can't just say, oh, I don't like that, so I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to pay any attention. If you want that, go get a job, stay in your day job, get a wage, and just do that, because you're responsible for so many things. Often people's wages, people come to you thinking, oh, this guy's managing the business. He's like, no, I'm just doing what I want. I don't want to do that. Don't do that hard stuff. And again, one of my notes here regarding Archies and how we did it was really good. With multiple people, you're able to keep each other accountable. And like a thing, you share the losses, share the wins, and that human connection. Like, because if you're in business just to make money, like there's a lot easier and less risky ways to turn some money. And I think if everyone's here, they'd probably be, and being honest with yourself, you'd say, yeah, I'm doing it for whether it's my ego, whether or not stick it up someone who doubted me, whether or not it's I want to do it to make my parents proud, like whatever it is. There's some more motivations than just making money, and so having people along the way with you is such a big thing.
Just like a comment on the outsourcing again. Like I feel for me, a really big frustration is, so it's like easy to outsource an accountant.
Yep.
Because their heart doesn't really, shouldn't steal your money, but their heart doesn't really need to be into it. It's really easy to do metrics.
It's a commodity that you're outsourcing.
It's like, do all the invoices, do this, do that.
Well, that depends if it's a good accountant, or it depends on how involved in the business they are.
But I think I find a real issue with something like if you have like a consumer brand, your marketing is really important.
Yeah.
It's also speed, because if you have someone who works for you part-time and you get an idea and you're like, let's do this, and they are, today I'm working for this person and that person. I feel like that's quite frustrating.
Yep.
And the other thing is like someone's heart being in it.
Yep.
It is.
Dilution of focus.
It is. I find it really frustrating because it is. You really need to choose those people well, because obviously everyone who runs a sort of a startup company gives something of themselves, right? And when you recruit, you sort of look at the people in the eyes and you're like, are you going to do that? And it's like, yes, so let's come on board.
Yeah.
The problem with outsourcing is that they don't really have to do that. Yeah. Some people do that. I quite like the idea actually of having someone who's outsourcing, but also
You can break it down.
rather part-time people.
You can even break it
Part-time
down.
people in, because it's really, because you need people to go the extra mile for you, and sort of marketeers thinking more, I hate the word guerrilla style, but if it's just, SEO agencies, like
If you outsource, sorry to interrupt you, if you outsource like SEO, that agency, they should just be held accountable for SEO. And if you have a brilliant idea, like a guerrilla marketing strategy, it depends on your budget, but you might have someone who's like a part-time consultant or something who just helps you with that sort of those ideas. And you just leave that agency like just to do the SEO and be responsible for the SEO. So don't come to them with like, I want to do this or that. Just say, okay, that's all they're going to do is the SEO. And then I've got someone who's like, creates my graphics for social media. If you're doing social, is that part of your strategy? So you've got maybe more specialists, like break it down instead of just going, okay, marketing and handing it over to someone and praying that person can deliver for you. Breaking that responsibility down across a few different people, and you'll be surprised. You don't need to go and hire like a $3,000 agency for social, $3,000 agency for SEO and stuff. You can actually find some pretty good people on like Upwork and stuff. It's hard, but they do exist and they are out there. Some freelancers at pretty good prices. And maybe ask around. Maybe I'm sure there's people in here who know some good people.
I've had a different experience being on both agency side as well as getting my work, doing my own thing. I think it's good to productize your marketing to start with, so that you have a clear direction for somebody who's going to do it for you. Because otherwise, I think ideas, you'll get 100 ideas and you definitely can't execute on 100 of them. And what you're doing is you're kind of relying on, I don't know how it worked for you guys. You're kind of relying on your advertising when your budget is kind of limited to succeed, right? So you're relying on, I'm going to do 3 different things, and one of them probably will give me a return of, let's say, 50% over another, which gives me a return of 25%. But what I've initially, at least what works, I've learned is you productize and you standardize what you want, and that's the direction you give to somebody. And rather than creating new ideas, you change that concept. And kind of make it better, I guess, the same assets that you have, rather than trying to create a new asset and come up with a new messaging altogether. It's a lot more work.
Yes, no, I agree, and that'll come up in the marketing. And like I said, more than happy to you. Ask me anything in here. And draw that. Margin. Again, Archies provides a really, really good example here. When we first started, this is probably in the heyday of Havianas. You get a pair for about 15, 20 bucks. I looked at the marketing, at the margin, and said, we're nowhere near that. And so what we did is we sent out a survey saying, what would you pay for a pair of thongs, a pair of arch support thongs? We sent it to it was a good number, maybe 300 people, and they all came back and said, nothing over 20 bucks or nothing over something like that. And we're like, well, bad luck, it's going to be 30 bucks. So the price that we win in it, and that was because, there's got to be enough in it. And because if there's not, your life just gets very, very difficult. And obviously the caveat to that is we had a product that people were willing to pay that much money for because we were unique enough for that. So, again, all of this ties in. And so it comes into do you have a good business if you're making no margin? Well, maybe if you're making no profit. And I'd say yes with a no. I mean, I talked to someone like Zero, who, lost money for 10 years or however long it was. Got enough users on board. I mean, the price has just gone up to 70, 75 bucks or something like that. Started at 50. So they've, doubled their price, well, not doubled, 50% up their price since they came in. And they would have, because they had a plan. This is our margin. This is what we're going to do. We're going to acquire customers. And then at some stage, it's going to turn. And, imagine someone come to you with an investment saying, we're going to lose money for 10 years, but in 10 years' time, we're a good thing. Get on board. Now, who's getting behind that? I mean, some genius, probably. The Archies example is a good one. There needs to be enough in it, and you need to know your figures. You cannot hide behind any sort of, I don't like to do that, or I don't like numbers, or any sort of that, because you need to know these things, and if you don't know them, someone needs to, and that someone needs to be really invested in your business. So that's where with Archies, Dan was amazing, absolutely amazing at product development. So that's where we kept him, because everything else, no idea. Tom Sheldon, amazing marketing, entrepreneurial. That was his thing. Not very organised. Was my thing. Everything in between. So probably going back to that manpower one, is that we work together so well. That's what I mean. Things really stack up. But again, if we had left it to Dan he sort of goes, like this when he sees a percentage, and I'm like, you know what I mean? So you've just got to know your numbers, and obviously different businesses, different models, all that sort of stuff. That's why I nominate Zero as a business. You say, what are they doing for? This doesn't read right. But so example here, and this is obviously not exactly it, but if I said I got a business that's doing 25% net profit, you go, yes, good, very good. Let's tick that. COGS at 25, you go, yeah, 75% gross profit. They're doing something right. That means that they're able to price their product high enough and there's enough demand for it. That's what that says to me, if you've got a high gross profit. And then here and here, I've got some big questions here. If someone came to me, and this is assuming that it's at a scale big enough that they're, able to pay employees and that sort of thing, I'd say, guys, what are you doing? I'd go in there. This is my strategy for this fictional business. Cut him down to 15, 10%. Brutal. Cut costs. Take that, put it in here, jack him up. This whole thing, bigger, done. You know what I mean? Don't need to touch this. This guy doesn't get touched. Allocating your money. Careful of your costs. Got to know your margins.
Can I jump in on this one?
Yeah.
So when we're talking with businesses right away, and Fabian, we went through this too, when the conversation around the fulfillment structure and all that component, we usually do like an analysis, and in the analysis process, when we take in all the pricing of operation expenses, if they're doing like $6,000 a year operation, like $6,000 a year for shipping all that, like they should be doing about 50 grand. Should, or give or take. But when they start creeping over after we take in all the accounts, anything close to that, we usually tell them, man, all you're gonna do is
You're gonna change something.
and you're gonna
change
blame me for the cost because
Yeah.
you clearly haven't made enough money on your product.
Yeah.
Because you're focusing on the competition.
Yeah.
Instead of actually focusing on all your costs and trying to be something different.
And
That happens a lot.
ultimately, in order to get this sort of number, and like this is a guide, like
Yeah.
so like was it Red Bull forever? 50% is Red Bull. They put 50% of every Red Bull can into marketing. That's the planes and all that sort of stuff. Put that there. They've got to fit all of these into here.
I just want to say something as well. I mean, I was speaking to a guy, and he's starting up a new e-commerce business, and I think it's a common mistake with people when they start. It's exciting, you're choosing the product, you're getting the cool prototypes.
And you don't know.
You're excited to launch, get it out there into the world. You're building a new website. You're coming up with your marketing strategy for Facebook. It's all exciting at this point. But what you don't realize that you're getting into is exactly what Tom is showing you here, and it kind of sounds like it's all numbers, and it's not the most exciting area, but this is the stuff that will be able to make you be successful with e-commerce. If you're just focusing on that and you're not thinking about your margins, your numbers, you're allocating, okay, what's percentage of marketing, how much actual net profit am I getting out of this product? You're just going to burn yourself out after 6 months. Most people will just quit and they'll just be done. I'm not doing this ever again. Most people, you probably will fail your first product and then you go again. But if you're thinking about it like this, where Tom's going, it's going to just put you 10 steps ahead of 90% of people who start the wrong way. So this just want to say that. And I talk to people all the time, and a guy was like, he's launching like this freezy thing, and he's like selling it for $35, and I was like, do you know your margins? And he almost got upset, like he's just like got agitated that I questioned him about the numbers because he's sort of shattered his dreams. So just try not to live in the delusional world. Try to really get into your numbers and just be honest with yourself about it. It can be quite confronting, but
These will keep changing though, right?
Of course, and this is where, so a big part of someone's role in your business is to keep in control of your costs, because otherwise things go crazy.
Within a high net worth sale, you don't need a 25% profit to make it.
No, I mean this is a dream.
Yeah,
This is a
that's
dream.
usually it's
This means I'm on like $1 million a year. You know what I mean? This is beautiful.
And how much run rate did you always make sure you always have? Like maybe like at the beginning.
It's never stay still, because
Average, like you always make sure you had 6 months, 12 months
runway of stock.
Or like cash in the bank, like how much run?
It's of course, I talk a lot in the money section. Don't put all your money in things. We broke that rule so many times, but I know what's good business. You know what I mean? And yeah, of course, sometimes you can't not do it.
sometimes we drop it all into inventory, but because you're getting the sales.
Yeah.
That
Everything's done with a purpose. Everything's done with a plan. You're not just.
So you took big risks at times.
We took some big risks, absolutely. But the problem that we had is we could never get enough stock. So buying too much stock wasn't really an issue for us until it was at some stages. But regarding your numbers, the factory, they're putting prices up. And if you're not paying attention, if you're not reanalyzing what's going on, this has just gone. This has got bigger. Where's it eating into? This guy. Someone wants pay rise. It's going into here. Marketing, ROAS is going shit out. So that's gone. All these things impact it.
So what is your margin like? What is the percentage? No.
On Archies?
Yeah.
Good.
What sort of rule would you recommend there, Tom? If you want to answer, like, what kind of rule would you say?
I mean,
If you say good, that means it's really good.
No, it's not really good, but again, like, it depends on what your business model is.
A lot of e-commerce businesses run at 10, they would consider 10% net profit as good.
Yeah.
But like if you're at 20%, 25%, you're pretty elite in terms of like e-commerce.
If you're doing that sort of number, that means this is small. And if that's the case, because it means, you know, you can obviously push this harder. And we sort of had a rule of like keep these all under control and open up as much room as we can here, so we can, you know, jam it down people's throats.
If your culture at 50%, you need to start again.
Yeah, 100%. You cannot succeed if that's 50%. And as a guide, 65, beautiful. You know what I mean? 55's all right. But if it gets much, well, again, you can, if this is 50%, you can run a business, but you can't afford to do this. So that means you'll be going around knocking on doors. You know what I mean? So it's all just like, what's the plan? Like, what do you want this thing to become?
Do you guys use marketplaces to sell?
On Amazon in the US, and that was only because competitors were getting on there, and they were, you know, we viewed it as taking out our sales. In Australia,
Not those years. No, it's too early.
What was your experience with US?
I mean, personally, I hate Amazon. I wish it was never invented. I think it's a curse.
May I ask why?
Number one, from an e-commerce business owner's perspective, which is everyone here, it has changed the perspective of a consumer. And I'm talking in the US, like we do a lot of business in the US, and not as much in Australia. And maybe this is just a US thing, but why isn't it free next day shipping? It's like
Free
fucking
returns.
cost. Yeah, free.
Entitlement.
Well, was it the Iconic in Australia introduced free returns, and forever, like I've heard from people I know, they throw a party if they turn a profit in a month. It's not every single month they're doing it. Why? Because they offer free returns, like all this sort of stuff. And maybe they've got a long-term business plan that, you know, they're offering, like, I don't know that. But what I do know is that everyone's like, oh, well, why don't you offer free returns? It's like, because it fucking costs.
Yeah.
It costs a lot. And it's a nightmare.
I gotta share again. Every business that I've ever worked with in Australia with Amazon, they're all dead.
Yeah.
It's very
all day.
interesting because I was looking into Amazon quite a lot and a few different business models as well.
All the businesses that we worked with, and we've been doing it for 6 years, all of them, and Tom will probably reflect this as well, like you go onto Amazon because you want to get access to eyeballs to all the marketplace because you don't have a brand, you don't have a name, and you haven't put in the effort to build that yourself. So you leverage Amazon. As soon as you get access to a bit of leverage, Amazon will copy you. Or you'll get covered in Jungle Scout, and then you'll get your competitors come through.
Yeah.
So therefore, you only have one revenue structure, and so it's shit, and they all die.
So Amazon, I don't like what Amazon has done to consumers, like to consumers' mindsets. They just have, I want next day, why isn't the price, you know, on the bottom and that sort of thing. The other thing that I hate is that the copying and just their predatory behavior. Like you know, Nike were on, then they took all their stuff off, and like it's just what they did to Allbirds, which is a New Zealand-based company, like copied them down to the T, like, and it's just, yeah, I'm not a big fan.
So they just replicate the winning product, like they take out your product and they replace with their own product.
Well, yeah,
that is winning.
100%.
Because they got the metrics.
Yeah, and you're talking on a scale that, you know, like they it's just ridiculous.
It's only one way apparently.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Tom, sorry, just on that slide, does that mix change when you, the one, that one, does that mix change when you come under attack from Amazon? Or like for me, I would think Alibaba and like the Alibaba and Temu effect, like
Yeah.
just what you were talking. I went
Yeah.
on Temu and I put in Archies thongs.
Yeah.
And like there's a set that came up that's like buy now, 1 hour to go, $8. You know what I mean, and obviously China has probably they just don't recognize any sort of IP protection. So does this change and how do you?
I mean, that's the thing. It's
How do you
always
respond?
evolving.
That's where branding is so important as well, because people, if you
Yeah.
want to buy Archie
Right.
songs, you know on Temu, they're not Archie songs. And you will probably most
Yeah,
likely
they're
assume.
they're not.
But you're
So you're not gonna buy Nike on
Yeah.
Temu.
Yeah, true. But like a large chunk of people are going to buy them because they're an $8 knockoff and they're
Yeah.
saving $24.
Yeah.
Well,
but you-
I mean, what do you compete with them?
Like, how do you respond? Yeah, and does this change?
Can't do it.
Yeah,
Don't.
yeah.
Just let them play.
Yeah.
They'll die out in a year.
There's nothing you can do.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I mean, you get creative in your marketing. You know what I mean? Like, mate,
Don't even
like
bother those
outbid them.
Yeah.
You know, if they're showing up on Google Shopping, outbid them. They got $8 to play with. You know what I mean? Archie's got 40. You know, we'll muscle you out. But
You scared away margin, by the way. But yeah.
yeah, and so that's a decision that you've got to make, and how many sales they take. And I mean, like, you know, when Puma or Adidas, you know, like when they split, you know, I'm sure like it's also one of those things where that it's just natural that happens, that people are going to come up and, you know, so forever in Australia, this is a really good point before. So we had patent protection in Australia, and it's a cruel thing. We filed the patent, it would have been like 2013. So there's now no patent on Archies in Australia. In the US, Europe, and that sort of thing there is. But so what happened is we had someone come out, bang, knocked him down, defended the patent, perfect. As soon as we got big enough, guess who copied? I think everyone. Everyone. Athlete's Foot copied. One of our own retailers. Bang, we'll do our own. I think it's Kmart or Target or someone got their own, you know what I mean? That's just natural. Yeah, 100%. It's just a natural thing.
Yeah, it is hard because it's a design patent. It's not like a function patent.
Yeah.
You know, like you can't argue that people, can't copy it.
Yeah.
So
up until the point, so obviously Archie's had protection for a long time, but I say it's cruel because we didn't really get going until the last few years, and then what happened? You burnt so much time growing. That's which is a whole nother discussion, which I'll keep things moving.
There's only so many cease and desist you can send out.
Mate. So manufacturing. Earlier on, I said 2018 was sort of like that, and again, we were doubling each year. But 2018 was when the ads, clicked, and as you keep doubling, it's hard to keep doubling. You know what I mean? The numbers get pretty big. 2018, we actually go back to 2013. Factory in China, got a container in, couldn't sell a pair. This is when we did not have much money to lose a whole container. No money, actually. We were fucked. Then we scratched it together, got over to a factory in Thailand. We thought this is it. This guy used to make for Nike until they got out of Thailand. This guy's going to be our guy. So we're with him. He was who our first order was with 2014, and we were with him until 2018. The business, and we were doubling each year. So were we a good business? I mean, people go, yeah, you're doubling, you're growing, you're killing it. I go, we weren't a good business. Our manufacturing base was so shaky. I'd order 10,000 pairs, 9,000 would show up. I go, close enough. I'd say, righto, guys, open the boxes. We need to see what's in there. I'd order 5,000 black. You open it up. Oh, they're coral. That's all right. Pull it out of the box. The box says size 9, size 7. Perfect. It was a disaster. And the fact that we were able to do what we did, again, I talk about it with a lot of pride. Absolutely, fantastic what we did. But it wasn't until we changed manufacturer again, went back to China to a good one, is a factory that was making for Nike, Adidas, Crocs, huge brands. We were this tiny little speck. Went there. What do you know? Our ads clicked the same year that our manufacturing clicked. I wonder if they're linked at all. I wonder if, one helped the other, and it was 100% the case. Like, we could not have clicked with ads, and the reason we were holding it back is because open a box, you didn't know what was in there. It's a
So
disaster.
was there no QA at the point of shipping? No?
It's terrible. Well, there is, but it's, I mean, if someone says, the sky,
I mean, you didn't have another party.
no, I mean, we couldn't afford it. Like,
I'm so sorry, one question. So you were doing orders, like big orders before sell? Or when you build a website, they
Yeah.
buy and buy and then you sell?
no. So we like with a lot of manufacturing, and this is where it comes back to the money cash flow thing. You're ordering months and months in advance, and you've got a lot of stock, hanging out there. So you've got a plan to step. That's why I say don't plan to go from here to here, because if you go to here and your sales are here, but you've ordered stock here, you're getting wrapped up pretty quick. So with the factory research, look through Alibaba and that sort of stuff. I mean, how good it is now. You guys are blessed. You was really believe it. But yeah, a good or bad factory can make or break you. That example, bad factory, we were gone. Okay factory, we're able to do a lot. Good factory, you know what I mean? So my advice is go over there, get some money, go over there, have a look around, get a few good ones, make sure the samples are right. And then obviously find out their capacity and quality. And this is all pretty basic stuff. But again, like we didn't do it for years. It took some pretty big screws to be applied to us to get that going. And then regarding product, I heard this once that it's like if you don't cringe at your first product, which we do, if you don't cringe at your first product, you did something wrong. So we always say aim for an MVP, or I always say MOQ on the MVP. So absolutely get the smallest number you can. People who are startup or before starting and that sort of thing, what you want to do is, and this is like, it's a little bit advanced, but do a pre-order, get something, get some photos, do a pre-order, see if it sells, prove the concept before you attack anything, because you get a container roller that doesn't sell and maybe you can't sell them. It's bad. Then the other one is have a clear vision of product releases. So we, from the very start, again, something that we did really well is we knew the products that we're releasing, and that the pipeline is still, goes a long way out. But our first release, so we had 6 products at the very start, and we did new color release. The one that we released, we did pink, taupe, and brown. Taupe is still one of the best sellers, like to this day. It absolutely kills them. And so looking at this, second product release should be better than the first. And then obviously we did new colors. And then we released slides. And you say, well, is that a better product? And I go, well, whether or not it's physically a better product or not, it's worth $60. And there's pent up demand. Slides are a good thing at the moment. So everyone, they're sold out. Sold out. Like I know.
Slide your foot in.
Yeah, slide your foot in.
Like a slipper.
Yeah, like a slipper. So that's a massive one. And so we get stock in, sold out. Next batch in, sold out. And so we do and then that pushed the marketing so much because there was so much hype about it.
Can I just jump in there?
Yeah.
I just want to touch on, that's probably one of my biggest learning curves is the MOQ and then the best sellers and then marketing. So it kind of all goes in together. So because I, just went with the best product, I didn't have a cringe moment. I love my product so much.
Yeah.
But I went with the top tier, which meant the highest MOQ, which meant it chewed so much of my budget to then be able to spill into marketing. I only had a little bit left over. But also I launched with 5 colors and 3 of them are best sellers and 2 are not. So that's a massive learning curve for me where I could have, tried to, maybe I should have ordered less colors, the ones that maybe I thought would sell better. I don't know, but that's just, I wanted to share that.
How much time from the order to the sale?
How do you mean? Sorry.
Like from when it landed to all of it selling and you knowing it was the three
Oh,
best?
I've still got a lot of stock, but I've had like 250 sales or something since launching, which is a couple of months, and I've got 3 colors which sell the most. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's people need to understand the Pareto principle, and this is sort of not on any slides, but is everyone aware of that? So, for anyone who's not brave enough,
I'm not aware.
Oh, yeah, thank you. What it is, it's 80, it's the 80-20 rule, where 20% of your customers will bring in 80% of your revenue, and back the other way, 80% of your problems caused by 20% of your customers. And a way that I think about it is, it's like 1% of the population own 99% of the wealth. You know what I mean? So the minimum in anything, if it goes, any market goes long enough, it'll 80-20 is the minimum. And I always think about the tallest tree in the forest keeps on growing because it gets the most sunlight, gets the most rain, it draws everything to it. It's like successful people breed success, just Pareto principle. So here, regarding marketing, so I break this down into strategic and tactical. And yes, I'm aware this has gone for an hour, guys, so I'm going to speed it up a bit. But anyone who can't see it, so we've got, this was done in, I think, early 2018. This is still on every single swing tag. This is on the website still. Personally, I didn't like this photo. I didn't like the fit. There's a few things I didn't like about it. But this shows real arch support, no blowouts, tight strap, light as a feather, molds to your feet. The key differences that allowed us to come into the market and sell for $30 instead of 15. You know what I mean? So I am massive on USP. Why is someone buying from you over someone else's? I had a girl come to me and I shouldn't laugh at it because I mean it's pretty funny. But and she's like, well, this is my product and this is what it is. And I'm like, all right, so why is someone buying from you and not someone else? She's like, I don't know. And she sort of, like John said before, I had that light bulb shattering moment of, oh shit, I'm just a commodity. I've got to have something different. So we were massive on function over form. This, where you just jam this down. You look at any Archies ad, and if it goes away from this, the person who made the ad should have their ass kicked because it's just all function. So, like, we've got, Dusty Martin, and we've sold millions of pairs of thongs, not by telling people we're cool. If we'd have come into the market and said, hey, don't buy Havies, buy Archies, we're cool, people would just go, no way. What it is we became cool because everyone was wearing them. That's how Archies became a thing. And everyone was wearing them because of the function. So that's, I guess, on a high level strategic perspective. From a tactical, I'm big on having a crack at all elements. You don't know, what's going to be your hit. I mean, of course, chances are it's going to be Facebook and Google. Chances are, but you want to have a look at everything. But the caution on that is you want to be careful that you don't become too reliant, because if there's whatever reason, some sort of downturn, you're just left with your butt hanging out your pants. What else? And then test and learn. So I guess, relating this back to Archies. So Tom Sheldon was, really, really creative, really entrepreneurial. He would he lived and breathed. His sole focus was to make sure that the marketing was absolutely spot on. He didn't have to worry about anything else in the business. And so what would happen is, we'd often talk about it, that if you're not concentrating, and this comes back to what you're saying before, Philip, that if you don't have someone on the marketing who cares, they'll look and go, oh yeah, this asset's no good. And you dive into it, you might go, oh, you got 2 crap ones that are bringing everything down, 2 okay ones that are paying for themselves, and 1 that's got a bit of potential. If someone's really paying attention, cut the crap ones, all your money into the good one, and it makes a huge difference. So again, it's hard. I'm not saying it's easy, but that is what you have to do.
And just on that one as well, you just got to test, because you don't know. Test different photos, even if you don't like the image that's been created. Like Tom said, he didn't like how that thong was created, but that was the big hit. And then, and then you just throw a few different audience. Maybe you think, oh, our audience is, I don't know, what's an audience? Single mums between the age of 30 and 40. But you could be completely wrong. It could be like, there could be, guys buying your products. So don't assume anything when you're doing ads. Yeah. Don't assume, don't put yourself in a box with what your customers want, because you could be completely wrong. So just test different creatives, test different images, be open-minded, test different, just leave everything open-minded with the testing. And like Tom said, chances are you'll probably run like 4 or 5 ads. They'll all be duds, but one will show that potential. And then you can iterate on that one. And then, you know what I mean? So you're probably only going to get one winning ad.
And it's not, again, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it.
And if I can add something to it as well, one of the things that I often see with especially businesses that are starting, they're really making everything about themselves, what they want, what they like, not about their customers. And I always explain it, it's not about you, it's about your business. You have to prioritize your business, not yourself and your customer. If you don't know your buyer persona, then you're not going to sell the product.
Yeah. Very good.
It's a bit of an ego hit too, because you think you're making a really great ad on Facebook. It's going to kill it, looks amazing, spend so much time into it, and it flops.
Yeah.
I just want to add a bit of advice. Like one of our best ads was a photo of the product, like iPhone photo, and then a Post-it note, like a sticky note. And on the sticky note, it was a USP. And then that ad has spent like 6 figures. And you look at that and it's like so ugly. It's an ugly ad. Like that's a really big trend at the moment. Everyone laughed at it and it's been a winning ad. So like people look at that. It was funny. Got a bunch of engagement. People see that and they don't think it's an ad because it isn't selling to you.
Yeah.
Makes you read it.
Yeah.
So just try it.
That's the case that trends are saying that at the moment the ads that are performing best are not actually looking at like ads. And they're not professionally made, but they're made with an iPhone and it's usually user-generated content. And the less professional it looks, the better it performs.
Looks less like that. No, I agree with that. Wrapping this up, so now that you have now that you have the foundations of a good business, how do you scale? And again, there might be some eye rolls here, but I challenge you on that. Gradually and with purpose. Again, like it's got to be step, step, step. And it's step, step, step is planned. Because you're not going to be able to step, step, step unless you've got the stock, unless you've got the right marketing, unless you've got money to buy the stock, money to pay for the marketing, people to run the ads. Is the warehouse going to be able to handle it? Is the stock good enough? Are people going to send it back? Huge returns, make you broke. So that's probably the big thing there. But I think that if everyone like something tangible, and if I'm asked to put, my opinion on it, the marketing is the demand generator. Everything else is foundational. Obviously, you've got to have good marketing, and that's foundational. So if people say, if people say, what do I do next? What do I do next? Well, I'd say push your marketing. That should always be your first step. Push your marketing. But then you can't neglect everything else, because push your marketing as high as you want, but everything else has got to come up with it. And that's your role as a business owner. You've got to have the plan. You're the one that people will listen to. And so you've got to say, right, this is where we're going. This is how we're going to do it. We're going to push the marketing. And then what's going to happen? We're going to make sure that the manufacturing can handle it. Do we have enough money to do it? And that's your role, to be across everything. Your role isn't just to be the kick-ass, person, I don't know, making them or just marketing or something like that, because you can't abdicate your role as the owner, as the CEO, or maybe get a CEO in, get someone in who can take on that role. But for the majority of people, that's you. So yeah, if I have to put them on the line, it's push your marketing, but you've got to make sure everything else comes up with it. Otherwise, not through any fault of its own, the marketing will hit a ceiling caused by everything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a LinkedIn if anyone wants to get on to me. Website, email, Outlaw Consulting. So what I'm doing is giving advice. I mean, a lot of it is, exactly like I'm like I am now, just pretty conversational, work through it. Got a good team behind me, so I also say that I'm consultant, but also contractor. So happy to roll up the sleeves and get things done because I'm very aware, and I sort of did this saying, well, if I could go back in time, what would I have wanted at the time? Help. Please just give me a warm body, someone who understands the margin, someone who understands all this sort of stuff. What am I doing with this money? Don't spend it there. That's a waste. Spend it here. That sort of thing. That's it, guys. Thank you all very much. Some really good questions throughout. Ask me anything from here on. Go from there. Or chat amongst yourselves or get out of it.
Will you ever go back and do the manufactured product, go back a bit in that kind of space, or be like a technical?
No,
This is a lot harder, Just,
yeah, I like for want of a better word, the scalability. The fact that a product can sell while you're asleep. I love that. So yeah, I've got some ideas for things that I'm doing at the moment.
Yeah, the reason I asked is because it's so reliant on USB.
Yeah.
That is threatening.
Yeah, it's attackable. Yeah.
And the barriers to entry without any kind of technical thing is basically nothing for anybody who kind of do that.
Yeah.
It's not just Amazon.
Alibaba and that sort of thing. It's completely changed the world in the barriers that zero, more or less. That someone can get a pair of thongs, send them to China and say, can you guys do this? And I say, yeah, it'll cost this to do the tooling, but yeah, we can do that.
So it was encouraging when you can never do that, but I'm just curious because
like
this
for
was
the last
more
5 years, it's been mostly around
physical product.
like Tractor Ventures, Exchange Investors, all these guys trying to bust
A lot of
the
this is like blended.
take a chunk out of you so that they could build a company out of it, and then hopefully you'll sell the company 8 to 10 years from today.
Yeah.
And the amount of dudes who are stressed to the bone, and like will break apart when it gets to the point of sale.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's actually nice to know that it's just been an organic sale process. Well, I don't know what it is.
We
And that's not to say that organic. What's happening that it's some
Well, it's based on what you said the first 5 years.
Yeah.
Are your services a private conversation or do you have
Some groupie stuff. Guys, is it annoying that everyone's talking? I'm not trying to make it all about me. But that was a really good question. So what I tried to do in doing this is if I could go back in time, what did I want? I just do private stuff. I think someone who's selling a course, which I know you're looking at, it's like, I come in, we've got 15 other people in the room and you get 1 hour of my time and sorry, hour's up, you know what I mean? I'm not, geez, call me a liar if I start up a course in the next few months or something. But it's just private.
I don't know if it's worth it. Maybe I think I could wrangle Tom to get into it. But I was thinking of doing for this Ecom Jungle, the moment just a meetup, like a paid Slack channel. I don't know, like something where it's like, it's not just like a Facebook group where you don't even know who you're getting advice from, some complete random who's done nothing, who's just like commenting just to be loud. A group where it's like, okay, we've got people in there. So you can post a question like, oh, I'm doing this, or can someone have a look at this product page, or what do you guys think? Just where it's like everyone's sort of helping. And Tom's like in there, but not like, he's obviously not paying, he's not going to dedicate hours, but at least there might be a question that he can chime in on, or someone else can chime in on. I don't know. I've got a Slack channel there. I don't know. Is that something that you guys think would be worth doing?
It's a great idea.
Yeah,
definitely. Yes.
Yeah. So that's the thing I'll try to do with Ecom Jungle. No, I don't have to do it now, but if that gets moving, I'll have to make it paid, and then maybe we can get experts in like Tom or something like that to get in, or just other. Hopefully, the idea would be getting other e-commerce business owners in there, because you're so isolated when you're doing an e-commerce business.
That's
you're so alone.
exactly the point I was about to say. When we were in Perth, we would just make it. What was it called? It was called the Ecom Connect or something where you just bring you guys together, not to fucking smash them with sales, but just so that they can bond and network with one another.
Yeah.
And it's not agenda based
Mm.
because like that's like this guy might know how to get really good manufacturing. You might know how to do really good marketing. You might know how to connect a really good team together. And it's just literally a conversation over a beer, over a pizza, and not like getting jacked up on prices of things. So if you need sponsorship, like you can work that out.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I mean, this is the second
start
time.
building
We'll
this
keep doing
community.
the Ecom Jungle, and if people keep coming and stuff, we'll definitely, see how it goes. But the idea is like, obviously I have an agency. So yes, I do services, but I actually don't, that's not the priority for Ecom Jungle. I'm happy for us to be like a bit of a community, maybe do as like an online paid community. I don't know what we're just sort of like Tom said, it's just slow organic growth is the idea here.
It is.
You know,
Because otherwise you got pitch investors that are gonna hawk or half of them, say, look, you give me 10%, I'll give you 100K. And then they're gonna be stuck in their own the grind. And that one guy being the one in the ear mostly, you know what it's like.
Yeah.
But if they're all like collectively having ownership and they're actually just able to just network and talk about, oh, I had a really shit month this month, is blah blah blah, and this guy fucked me, no. Then it's a good venting practice and it's hard to find.
Yeah.
That's just
Yeah,
my
I think it's a good idea. I'm part of a kind of creative like this girls group, and there's this all of us e-commerce girls in there. It's just been like just thrown together. It's not anything formal. It's not like a group on Facebook or whatever. It's just a private message group on Instagram, and there's my besties in there. She's got a hair care brand. There's another girl with a hair care brand. There's another one with a hair care brand. My lip stain brand. My beauty brand. So, and we've all just come together, and one of them jumped on this morning, for example. She's like, she had a really lucky moment where she was actually being live interviewed by Channel 7. She's like, what has been the great benefits for you for social media? Like, how have you found that that's going to be the talking point? And, we talk about things like running ads all the time. None of us have experience. None of us know what we're doing. I know a little bit because I recruit for marketers, but we're always jumping in there daily. We're always in there, but there's no expertise. So I think this kind of group is really fantastic for people like me and the girls in my group to kind of come in and ask questions on a subscription basis where we're actually getting real live experience from you guys who are doing it daily.
Yeah, well, when you're in your startup stages, like you can't afford to hire like a marketing agency or take that risk for 12 months to find out they're a dud anyways, and you've injected all that money as well. So, this is like a nice stepping stone. I don't know what Tom's outlaw consulting fees are. I'm sure you But some people might not be at the level where they can, pay for Tom or someone's services. So like it's sort of that step out where there's a little bit of support there, which will help a lot of people, I think, especially when you're starting.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Genuinely, I'm open. Stump me on something. Throw it out.
Yeah. So when did you start your consulting business?
Jan, Feb this year.
Yeah. And what is your goal for this year?
What's your plan?
Yeah, what's your
plan?
What's your plan?
What's the plan? Get about 5 or 6 really good clients under me, as in like big businesses that I want to be dealing with. But again, like I think just keep pushing it, keep growing it. That's the plan at the moment, because it's different being and quite different being a service business where the cost is me and my insurance.
Yeah, that's right.
I work from home, so it's different in that sense. Like I said, I'm developing some products of my own.
Yeah.
Get that
Because
going.
this is like quite different to what you did before. Like it was like a dream product. Yeah.
I'd say you'd be building up some really good IP and systems with your team.
I've got a team like behind me, and it's very much like and that's the team. So when I left Archies, I took that team with me that I developed over 10 years. And so like I said, we don't mind getting hands dirty and getting stuck into it, sort of thing. So I'm enjoying the work. I like the variation of the work. Like I said, ask me, like I could literally sit here and talk about this stuff all night. Like people would be leaving before I'm leaving, sort of thing. So, yeah.
When you launched Archies in the US and UK, were there any was there anything that you did to just help out the process? Was it as simple as turning on Facebook ads, or was it a bunch of brand awareness campaigns?
No,
Did it work straight away?
the benefit, I guess, that we had is that by the time we went there, we were pretty dialed in. You know what I mean? Like we had really good team, and we had really good foundations, and that allowed us to scale. So did we do anything? We just tested things. Start small. Oh shit, that's working. Let's cut this stuff that's not working. Follow that. Follow the money. Follow the money. You know what I mean? So now that no magic bullet.
No secrets.
Test. I wish there was a secret. I wish I knew it. But I mean, the secret is, gradually and with purpose. That's the secret.
One of the things I can tell you is, because I launched a company sitting in India, targeting America, basically. And we also marketed in Australia, but eventually we realized the US is a lot more open to doing business overseas and people.
What was the product?
It was tour and travel, so we just did bespoke tours to India, mainly.
I'm very curious about this stuff, as I'm sure Beck, who I grilled the other week when she was here. So you had a team in India who would do tours themselves, Okay.
I mean, we were trying to be a travel search portal, like a review or something, and of course that didn't materialize for us.
Yeah.
So we built our own hotel application that we went. We just got rid of, finished all our money. We didn't have marketing. But we thought we build a product, people will come and it's one of its kind product. So we had to transform our business and become a tour operator because we already had those relationships in place.
Yeah.
So we had to leverage whatever we had. So we became a tour operator.
Yeah.
Well, luckily, it was still very offline back then, so it wasn't that much competition online.
What year are we talking? Just a couple.
Oh shoot, 2007.
Okay, right.
Yeah. So you can imagine that there was no CRM back then which could do remarketing. It was only in 2015 that I came across 14 Infusionsoft, and I was paying $250 for a single license.
Yeah.
As opposed to you could do that in $10 now.
Yeah.
So but to that point, so what we found out was that there are different ways, and it's just that like audiences in America, they're a lot more open to it, and they're also a lot more aware to the fact that when you purchase on credit card, their liability is zero, right? So they are pretty okay to transact on their credit cards. Whereas when I moved here to Australia in 2015, people were still not aware that their credit card liability is zero because it's all merchant liability,
No chargeback.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
does everyone know what that is? Just yeah. Yeah. So it's a funny thing, and that when that penny drops, it's like red pill, blue pill in the Matrix, to be honest. Because so what can happen is, and it's funny that e-commerce is even a thing, given what you just said, because anyone can put in a chargeback. So you've got a product, they put in a chargeback, they call their bank and say, I never got delivered the product, or this is card stolen, or whatever it is. They get cancelled. Shopify refunds the money out of your account back to that person, and on top of that, they charge a $25 US fee. So you get too many of these. They start, that profit. They eat away, and so. Again, it comes down to the systems process. You can. That's right. You can beat them, and because you've got to say, well, no, we did deliver it. Here's the date. Here's the tracking. But a lot of merchants just go, these chargebacks.
Well, because you had to deliver it. For us, we were doing the delivery, so somebody has to consume once they come, like physically.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different nowadays.
Did you ever win chargebacks? Because every time I get a chargeback, I
I
have
never-
I have 0% hit rate. You can like we can put in full accountability proof everything, and like it's always in the favor of the customer. Like I've never once won.
I've got one, I think.
You have
One
how
under
many?
the boat, yeah.
Out of how many?
One. Oh, I've probably only about 20 or so, but still.
I haven't done them for a while, but I know that we had a really good system in place.
Is there a secret sauce that
Just get onto them quick as far as I can. Like, I mean, I'll have to talk to the team and say, what are we doing? You know what I mean? But yeah, there's, again, you need a system, you need something in place, and you need a, I mean, I'm not sure who's doing it with you guys, but it needs to not be, you know, you. It's a pretty doable job, sort of thing.
It's set up in Shopify for you to easily fight it, but yeah, same thing.
It's
You
a
never
form.
win
It's a
it.
form.
Yeah, you
Like,
never
I've
win
never,
it.
I've never won.
Yeah, you never like. Yeah, for me too. And also now Shopify start penalizing you as well through ShopPay. So if you
get too
have,
many.
yeah, if you get 3%, I think they stop promoting you in ShopPay, which is one of their distribution channels. So yeah, but I don't think it's like a small problem in general because like most people don't actually charge back. So
It's funny though that is one of those ones that I put in the category of do the small things really well. You know what I mean? I've got this leaky. I've got a bucket. It has a few leaks in it. Oh, yeah, it's just you just got to nail those things. And obviously, you nail the big things first. You get your manufacturing sorted before you worry about chargebacks. But you know, if you can do it all at once, so much better. Do it all at once because you've got a big enough team. Yes, John.
What do you recommend with manufacturing? Do you think that you can just go on Alibaba and find a good supplier, or do you think it's worth going up to China, going to one of the conferences, because they have amazing conferences up there in China, like niche specific conferences as well.
Incredibly niche and makes you feel incredibly small as well. It depends. What sort of product have you got? How complex is it? Like, you know, how established are you? Like, again, like I said, we never would have become what it was if we didn't, you know, take the courageous step to change manufacturers, because what we knew, you know, we knew it. We had a good relationship with the guy, even though he was more or less stealing from us. But you know that, like, change is tough. You know what I mean? Like, so
What are the 3 most common men's sizes in Australia?
men's sizes.
Foot size.
I'm trying to stop me. Give me a tough one.
No,
9, 10, 11. Yeah.
Did you just win that question?
Women 6, 7, 8. Oh mate, I was the margin. I knew everything.
Is that US size or Australian size?
Well, no, the question starting with men's or women's size is the question.
No, you said men 9 to 11.
So men
as well, please.
they're the same. No, AU and US is the same.
No. AU is UK, isn't it?
No, UK is UK.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no,
I thought they were like UK.
no, UK is a prick. The worst is Euro.
Back to manufacturing.
Sorry, just a small bit. Euro is, I'm not sure if many people know this, it's barley corns. It's, you know, it's like, I'm 42. It's how many barley corns it is. It's crazy.
Which cities did you visit? Did you go to Yiwu, or did you spend more in Shenzhen, or did you go to more?
So down south.
You went to
Yeah.
Yeah. Why did you choose there over?
We didn't choose it. Yeah,
Why did you make
that's
choose there?
fun.
Why did you make choose there instead of the other spots?
No, so we went to a factory. It wouldn't have mattered if they were inside Europe. We didn't go to the factory with them. So we went to the manufacturer. We didn't go to an area and do it. You know what I mean? So when we first went over there, we had an agent, again, stealing from us. So he got us in somewhere, and it was a guy in the footwear industry. He got us in somewhere. Again, had a really good relationship with the factory, but you know.
Oh, he was a broker.
Yeah. So we had an agent early who introduced us to the factory, and then the next one was through just a connection. The one in Thailand was through a connection. You know what I mean? And that's just how it goes. And then eventually got onto the final one through research. So going up that chain and finding out what the big fish are, and ended up with a really big fish. So the brain busters.
Just a general question. Do you have like a recommendation for people who like don't have a conviction in their idea yet? Like you had success.
You're selling like dolls or jerky or something like that. Is that what you're doing? Mate, it's one of those ones where like getting it happens where people get attached to their idea, to their business, but it's like an 80s movie where it's like, it's just business. You know what I mean? Just think, but does it sell? Don't worry about the conviction. Does it sell? Is it unique? Because if it's unique, it'll sell. There's getting into the US, there's plenty of people who want something that you're selling. So I'd say have you proved the concept, and does it sell? That's the only conviction you need.
Like, so if it doesn't, do you have ideas for like idea generation? Like if you say for Archies, you had like a brilliant idea, right? But have you had other ideas like
I've got a couple in the works at the moment. But it's very much like like one the pizza box. Now they had that pizza stand, and the guy put a patent on that. If it's that, it would have been 0.001 cent to make, and he's probably a billionaire. You know what I mean? Like,
you don't also have to choose people get so caught up. I find a lot of people they choose like an Instagram or they're trying to choose like a product that's again I think like ego driven to like show off.
Yeah.
You can go for like a super boring. Like,
I want a sexy product.
Yeah. Don't worry about the sexy products because everybody's doing that. That's what everyone's going to. It's like that blue ocean strategy where you go and you don't have to reinvent the wheel all the time and create like the next iPhone. And that kind of thing.
Does it sell?
Does it sell? Is there a need for it? Yeah.
That's what you like. Again, Archies was a pretty sexy product, all things told. You could have, shoots and that sort of thing. But if I'm selling chairs and it's a unique chair, I don't care. And that's I think another mindset thing that you've got to have is don't get too emotionally attached to it and say, but I want it to be whatever it is. What you want doesn't matter. What's the market want?
Yeah. But if you can't change the product, you could possibly try changing USB. See how it works.
Yeah. It's hard to manufacture that. Like, you can reframe it, I guess. But again, a lot of people probably don't understand that not all businesses are meant to be. You know what I mean? Like, think about your local milk bar. There's a reason why the milk bar's out of business because he couldn't buy the milk cheap enough to compete with Coles or Woolies. You know what I mean? And so he's gone. So not, people just, and like selling a commodity product, it's like, oh, God, I don't want any part of that. Selling some individual dolls, it's pretty cool. You know what I mean? I reckon there's demand for it. It might not be $1 billion business. Might be a few million. I might be able to do this. And the experience that I get out of that, I'll stack it into something else. And then I'll stack it into something else, and and that's I guess where I'm blessed in that sense that I've had 30 years worth of experience condensed into 10 years because what happened is we were so tough at the start, and then it went so big. You know what I mean? Like sold over 3 million pairs of thongs. It's good numbers.
And then what's the percentage? Sorry.
I just kind of had a logistics question because obviously that's the second meeting. I was just wondering because I'm aware that people are leaving and some people have to go, and I just wonder whether it's maybe worth. I, for example, would love to talk some people separately to you as well and to you. And I just
grab numbers. Like I'll stop talking. Grab numbers.
Whether we should just talk to each other and I just don't want people to go and like no, please don't go. Like I want to talk to you and Yeah.
Jonathan, where do we hang out with so we don't have to sit around this table?
Yeah, well, I was thinking the next logical
Okay.
step would be like an online Slack group is what I was thinking, but if you guys think that's.
I mean, like right now.
Right now.
Oh, now. Oh, we could go with the.
There's a need for that.
Is there a place where we can?
I don't know if
drink
there's
and
a,
talk?
there's like the lunchroom there, that's the
No,
best thing.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to lunch room. Let's go to the lunch room. We doing
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Whose office is this?
Sorry?
Whose office is this?
This is the co-working space, they're called Launchpad.
Oh, no,
So it's co-working space, yeah.
Awesome.
So you can, I just rented this space out.
I'll
Yeah.
see.
Put it at the stream.
Is it okay if I just check in?
Yeah, go for it, yeah.
Yeah.